The new Netflix documentary tells the sickening true story of Dr. Donald Klein, a fertility specialist who inseminated patients with his own sperm, resulting in at least 94 children. I watched the new Netflix documentary, Our Father. Should you? Let's find out. How's it going, movie watchers? Thank you guys for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to talk about the new Netflix documentary film, Our Father, which tells the story of Dr. Donald Klein, who used his own sperm as a fertility doctor, which resulted in at least 94 children. My God, that is absolutely horrifying. Crazy that this actually happened. The movie focuses on several of his children that come together. They learn of other siblings throughout this documentary film. They are trying to get this case public. They are trying to connect with him just to understand what was going on. And throughout the film, we see several of these children that we see their initial reaction to what had happened, and that he actually was their father. They recount the time that they discovered all of this, their parents, their mother, and how they believed that their father that they grew up with wasn't their father. There are really some heartbreaking conversations in here when you learn that some of these people, their lives really just turned upside down once they realized who Donald Klein was and actually how they are related to him. So throughout this film, we see a lot of those conversations, and they are really heartbreaking, emotional to listen to, that these people's lives were affected. And also the women who saw this doctor and what he did to them without their consent, used his own sperm, and how they reacted to it as well. And a lot of those conversations feel raw. They feel very personal. They are hard to listen to at times. And we see a lot of them connect, and a lot of them are in the same situation. They're just truly upset with what had happened, and they're all kind of in the same situation. And listening to Donald Klein take advantage of these women, and then you start to dig a little bit deeper into this, where we have these children just try to understand what was going on. Why did you do this? And he really didn't have the most answers for it. They had to dig deep on their own. And we learned that possibly he was part of a cult that wanted to populate the world with their own kind. And that just is a little brief part to it. That's just absolutely insane. But the film utilizes this horror element to it because it is gross what had happened. It is horrifying what had happened. Once we start to get into this documentary film, there is several reenactments of Dr. Donald Klein and the women who saw him. And they start to focus a little more on these reenactments that almost tries to make it like a horror film. It's a little over dramatic at times. Yes, what had happened was horrifying and just against everything that this doctor should have done. But some of these reenactments with Dr. Donald Klein and the women and some of the siblings as well, it's a little too dramatic. At times it feels like it's trying to be like a horror film. And this is brought to us by Blumhouse as well. So Blumhouse right there. There is some of these reenactments that do feel a little over the top and a little dramatic, like they're trying to create a horror film within itself. Another issue for me with this documentary is that it feels incredibly short. There is so much story that could happen in here, so many children that they could focus on. Donald Klein's upbringing, his practice, everything. There could have been a whole series centered around this. And when we have these children we have these adults that are introduced, a lot of their conversations, a lot of their feelings about it all does feel very brief as they are brushing over several of these siblings fairly quickly. And there's 94. You can't get all 94 to spend a few minutes talking about what had happened with them. Some might just not want to do that. But the conversations that they do have, all of it just feels very quick. And another thing that I found very dehumanizing is instead of sharing the name of the person on this title, when we have the person that is introduced, instead of the heading of the person's name, they're using the number. And so they're trying to shock us into realizing how many people there are. And the number just keeps rising. It gets larger and larger, but instead of that person sitting there in front of the camera having their name above their heading, they just put a number for them. It feels like it's a little dehumanizing and a little gross. So some of the edits in here, some of the reenactments seem a little too dramatic and dehumanizing. There is a lot of story that could be explored. It feels very fastly paced, but there is a haunting tone to this documentary film. They really did capture that with the with the material that they have. They made Dr. Donald Klein really like a villain within here, just off of the conversations and some of the reenactments as well. Despite them being a little over dramatic and feeling like a horror film, you honestly felt like he was a person that was taking advantage of several women. I got that vibe for him within this film, and they really brought that tone forth, but a lot of those reenactments and some of the edits just did not work for me. So before I give you my score for Our Father, make sure to check out my channel. Here I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, ranking videos, tier lists, all that fun movie related content that you see on YouTube. I do it all here, so hit the subscribe button to get it all in one spot. And if you would like to see where Our Father ranks amongst all of the other 2022 releases I have seen this year, follow me on Letterboxd and you can find my ranking list. I'm going to go ahead and give Our Father a C+. Thank you guys for checking my review for Our Father on Netflix. Have you seen this new documentary film? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.